NECA's making more art, but this art's making a mess. Here's your look at the NECA Damien Leon's Terrifier Ultimate Art the Clown, blood-soaked, Walmart exclusive. Blood-soaked Art the Clown is a limited edition figure from the horror franchise Terrifier, manufactured by NECA and sold exclusively through Walmart. It's a detailed collectible featuring the character of Art the Clown covered in blood and comes with numerous accessories seen in the films, such as various weapons, a severed head, and exposed brain. This is a Walmart exclusive and all. Maybe it would be best for Art while he's picking up a figure for himself, stopping down the laundry aisle and picking up a bottle of bleach. Though the bottle of bleach would not appear though until Terrifier 2, it would probably be the best thing to get out all the red that he currently has stained in his clown costume. Did you find this at your local Walmart? No, I didn't. I ended up having to order this one on eBay, the same place. In fact, I actually got the original Terrifier the Clown, although from different sellers. Still, I paid well over $100 for this, and it just says something to me as a Canadian collector. Our Walmarts suck. I'm sorry for dropping the S word, but it does certainly suck when it comes to stocking anything good. The only thing I've actually been able to see in recent memory that a local Walmart stores was the Halloween 6 Michael Myers, but I already have a Halloween 6 Michael Myers. I would have really loved to get Art the Clown. The figure, though, is essentially using the same body as the original art. The only thing that's really been done is cosmetic changes. Obviously, you can see if you have your eyes all opened up and not been carved out to make a jack-o'-lantern, the figure does also have somewhat of the same accessories, a few other sprinkled in there goodies there as well. Let's get things stepping with taking the tape measure. Art the Clown's going to stand the same at 7.5 inches in height, factor in that tiny little hat on the top of his head. That's going to translate, though, to a figure that's 19 centimeters tall. Keeping things on the tad cleaner side, here's what the figure looks like with the original Art the Clown. I did want to at least keep the faces exactly the same so you guys can see. If you look to this one, you look to this one, and you look back at this one again, just to take a double take. The figure does, in fact, have the exact same body. The only thing that they have done differently by adding excessive amounts of blood all across the chest, all across the arms, any limbs that he has, and his face as well. A store exclusive and all, you may look at the lay of the land and recognize many of the accessories that we've already had a look at. The figure, first of all, does come included with a garbage bag. The garbage bag, though, I haven't taken the liberty of opening this like I did before. The bags, though, are exactly the same, and what you'd be finding at the bottom of the bag, is that parchment? Is that a map to somewhere? No, it's not. All it really is, though, is we reach inside the bag, pull it out. What you'll find inside is an oval-shaped piece of cardboard. That's going to be exactly the same on here. If we just kind of line everything up, I'm not lying to you. It's the exact same thing inside. So I have no real need to open this up. I did a terrible job of trying to tie this back up in a neat looking knot. I'm going to keep this as good and pristine as NECA intended this when they put this on the bottom of the tray. Look, though, by the bottom of the tray, by the way, that's where you're going to be finding the bag. What you'll also be finding, though, is the frustration. And I still said this with the earlier review of Art the Clown, that they did have, where's the top of the tray? The top of the tray, though, is covering the entire figure. So once you remove the tray, and you got to make sure, though, you cut the tape on all the sides, because if you don't, if you pull the tray and something's holding it back, you're going to go, pting! Well, you're not going to go, pting! The accessories are going to do that, and they're going to go all over the floor. In fact, pulling some of the things out, I actually dropped a few of them on the floor, but luckily I was able to find them. Those things that were falling on the floor, by the way, were a tiny little scalpel. Now, I'm not going to necessarily show you like for like. Maybe I will. I don't know. I mean, it's like for like. It's the exact same sculpt. Scalpel to scalpel. Ooh, we want to make sure we got the blade facing the right way. We won't be cutting ourselves. Let's just hold this up to a hand. You guys can see. Yeah, the scalpels are exactly the same. Just that one has a little bit more blood than the other. This one starts in a silver. This one ends abruptly, painfully, and gorily in a blood-soaked red. No things really change when you get to like the ice pick. The figure does also have that as well. Where's the ice pick? The ice pick was, I mean, the ice pick doesn't have as much of the blood on it, but you can certainly tell that Art's been busy. The figure does also come include with a tiny little knife. Knife for knife. When you hand it to the customer, make sure you hand it to them, handle side first. Homer realized that right away when he was going door to door as a knife salesman. But this one, though, I don't know if Art should be going door to door selling any bit of knives. I'm sure, though, he's going to walk away with a profit that day. Everybody's just going to be kind of, especially if he looks like this, just kind of just literally throwing their money at him. But the knives, again, look exactly the same. Handles, again, look also the exact same, too. Put that over there. The figure does also come included. Where did I pick this up right here so I'm not dropping it. Comes with a hatchet. Comes with a hatchet. Clean for the original. Not so clean, though, for the Walmart exclusive. You can see, again, there's a little bit of blood there. Now, Arts, we know, only has 2 hands. I mean, anybody with eyes can clearly see that. I'm reminding, though, of Pizzeria Steve. Pizzeria Steve is right over there. But with only really having 2 hands, there's not really enough accessories to accommodate. Well, he doesn't have nearly enough hand to hold all the accessories. So one thing that's kind of cool, though, is that you can borrow these around to other figures, for example. I know Jason already has a hacksaw. He dispensed, was it Axel in Friday the 13th Part 4 with a hacksaw. But I mean, again, if you wanted to use one for Jason Voorhees, it is, though, the exact same, just one that has a little bit more blood than the other. The figure does also come included with the drill. Did I make the sound effect when we first looked at the drill, the original Art the Clown? Just recently. Did I say this story as well? I just recently watched Driller Killer. Not bad of a movie. It's a grimy, greasy horror movie from the late 70s. Other than the one scene with the rabbit, I don't really want to talk too much about the rabbit. Other than that one scene, I don't think it's that bad of a movie, but I can certainly see why that scene made it a video nasty. Speaking of things getting nasty, I mean, look, you can imagine only how nasty things would get if Art the Clown is using the drill for anything else than just drilling screws into a drywall piece. The cords, by the way, are exactly the same. They also have the little prongs. Can you see the prongs? They're tiny. I know. Super, super small. How close can we get in there? We can get generally quite close. Yeah, the prongs are exactly the same. The figure does also come include a pistol. I'm not going to be making sound effects for every little thing that I end up looking at. Actually, the pistol, surprisingly enough, is one of the cleanest looking things. The only thing it looks like blood-wise that got onto it was the handle, and it probably came from Art's hands. The pistol itself, again, molded here in black plastic. They've taken then the time just to go in there and paint the handle. The handle does seem like it's a little bit different of a brown. I mean, you're probably drawing so much attention away from the coloring of the brown and looking more at the fact there's a lot more red. The figure does also have a tiny little axe. Tiny little axe. Now, I made the mention that may have been rust on the original one. Somebody did chime in and tell me that, no, that's still dry blood. I should have really known. It's certainly not as dry of a blood on this tiny little axe. Again, Art's being quite busy. Wish the figure could have really come included with a little thing of salt or bleach, but again, like this is kind of more based on the original Terrifier, so again, a lot of the accessories will reflect that. The figure does have a hammer. Again, if I was a hammer, would you be my lady? Would you marry me anyway? Would you have my... Oh, stop that. The handle, again, does have quite a lot of blood on it. So does then the head. The figure does have several knives. Now, maybe we'll do these. We'll do these all together. Comes with a more giant-looking machete. Comes also with a butcher knife. And we'll kind of leave the cleavers for the last. Again, to look at these and look at the original ones. Is this getting boring by now? I'm sorry. It's more just to show you that, again, the accessories are exactly the same. They are. They really are. Paint may be, again, marginally different from one to the other. But short of that, the moldings are exactly the same. Comes along then a tiny little cleaver and a much tinier cleaver walking along in the streets of Itchy and Scratchyville. Not as bad as Euro Itchy and Scratchy. They just want to have customers. But again, like the cleavers are the same. They're just, a little bit more blood. Covering all of that, let's slide that off to the side. We're kind of making a pile over here of what we've already looked at. We still have a pile here of things we've yet to look at. I guess we've already looked at the garbage bag. We can also put that to the side. The figure does also come included with a makeshift whip. The makeshift whip does have 4 individual strands. Each of those individual strands seem to have a scalpel, a pair of scissors, snippers, and again another scalpel or so on the inside there as well. No real different than the original whip that we also looked at as well. He's really the MacGyver when it comes to killing people. Lastly, though, the figure does also come included with the baby. Now, the baby really, again, isn't that much different. How many times has this guy said behind the camera? Not much different. Don't tally that up, please. There's, again, a lot of blood. Generous amounts of that on the back of the nightgown. Certainly there on the front as well. This doll has seen many things. Many things. Don't even bother asking it. It wouldn't be able to speak. The figure does also come include a couple of swappable heads. We'll kind of look at those in a second. Then he also includes a pair of different hands, smaller gripped hands for holding things like the knives, slightly larger gestured hands. This actually is a better looking hand. Actually, he does have a trigger firing hand for holding the pistol. Where's the pistol? Where's the pistol? Grab the pistol over here. We've got to make some use of these hands after all. Slide the pistol inside the grip. And you can, again, swap that out with his existing hands that he has. The figure does have an A-OK. There's nothing A-OK or okay at all about this Art the Clown. If he's showing you a hand like this, you know things are okay for him. Things aren't so okay for everybody else around him. Lastly, before we actually jump over to the three swappable head sculpts, the figure does also come included with 2 unique accessories. Because there is, again, a little bit of a nudge, not only just the coloring alone, to get you heading over to Walmart if, again, not living in Canada. But if you wanted to go to Walmart and get this one for yourself, there are then 2 unique accessories. One of which being pizzeria owner Steve, carved up like a jack-o'-lantern. It looks gruesome. The top of the head, actually, I thought would be removable. It is just only carved away like this, but it's not. It doesn't seem like it can be pulled out. I tried to kind of flick this with a screwdriver. Didn't want to cause any bit damage. Any more damage than what already Steve has inflicted. The only thing I will say, though, that's kind of lacking on Steve's sculpt is little candles. Candles in the eyes, candle in the nose. Other than that, though, pretty bad. Steve's seen better days. Steve has seen better days. He sold Art on a slice. Art decided to take several slices instead. That's a pizzeria joke. Anyways, though, the head looked, again, really quite brutal. Between this one and the one that we get from the Halloween Kills Michael Myers, you could have yourself, well, a collection of 2. But you could have a cool little collection of severed heads. This one looks really grimy looking, just disgusting. To go along with that, though, the disgust continues. The figure does also come included with a ripped out brain. Really? Oh, I just dropped the brain. Where did I put the brain? Oh, it's down on the floor. I'm going to have to reach that a little bit later. Did you take at least enough of that, a mental image? It does come included with the brain. I don't know where the brain. It's somewhere now on the floor. I can't reach it. I can't reach it. We'll have to come back to that a little bit later. Finally, though, Art the Clown does come include 3 swappable faces. Now, I do feel like the figure could have potentially came included with 3 unique head sculpts that weren't already with the original Art the Clown. We've already established that the one that we are using right now for the example happens, though, to be the exact same one that I'm using on the clean Art the Clown. But he does then come included with, again, 3 swappable heads. They happen, though, to be the exact same heads from the previous art. A surprised look on his face could have really gone a long way as well. A laughing out loud face would also work really too. But unfortunately, though, the head sculpts are exactly the same. It's kind of, again, like one of those hard things being, though, really an exclusive. I can't think that NECA is going to really go from scratch and start, sculpting brand new head sculpts to come included, though, with an ultimate exclusive figure. When, again, like, it's only going to be exclusive to a store. Walmart probably paid the price to have an exclusive made for them. And again, what they got in exchange for that was they got Pizzeria Steve's head, and they got the brain that was rolling around. I think it's right over there right now. I can't even reach it. If I had elongated arms like Mr. Fantastic, I can't reach it. But yeah, the head sculpts, though, are the same. Just that one has a little bit more splatter, 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 gore, 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 splatter all over the front of the face. By the way, though, too, what you can do, obviously, is you can swap it out with the existing face that he has. Don't like necessarily this face. I guess this is a laughing out loud face. What's this guy talking about? Swapping out the faces, though, is just as easy as the original art. You pull that off, and there's pegs, though, on the inside of the face, and that just plugs in like that. So you have a little bit more of a sterner, more concerned, more subdued Art the Clown. I wonder what he's thinking about right now. You wouldn't want to know. You wouldn't want to know. The thing that's kind of cool, though, is that because, again, like these are using just, again, the same head sculpts, where are the bloody ones? Oh, there's the other 2 right there. The faces, again, are the exact same. So this one is the same. And where's the other one? Where's the other one? The other one is right here. What I wanted to say, though, while I was trying to grab those faces, if you look on the back, though, because the pegs are exactly the same, you could also swap it out with the existing cleaner art. Just, again, pop that off. I know what it is. The problem with it, my fingers still feel slippery this time. I don't know. Maybe it's the moisturizer. Maybe it's the fact that the heater's on and just perspiring a little bit. I don't know. But yeah, you could, if you wanted to, swap out the faces. I guess for that matter, too. I haven't yet tried it. But because obviously they're going to be using the same bodies, you could pop off the heads, crisscross, applesauce. You could swap them around. And you could do that as well. I mean, too, like the collar is also technically also a separate piece. So you want to swap out the collar. I know in the end, there's going to be cleaner parts to the art and there's going to be messier parts to the art. If you get around to like swapping things around, you're going to notice that one looks surprisingly a lot cleaner down below. And it seems only really, again, messy in the face. But there's that as an option if you wanted to. I suppose, being that this is kind of the cleanest face that only has just a few little splots of blood, you could use that face Put that figure down here, and you just swap it out with this one. So again, if you want just a little bit of blood, a little bit goes a long way. You can plug that in place like that, and art just has a little bit of it. So you can say to yourself, well, you know, that's why he's clean everywhere else. And then realistically, too, you could also swap out some of the hands. So again, you can mix and match, use the ones that you really want to. You could give them bloodied hands. You know, again, it doesn't have to necessarily be all clean, all art, all the time. Yeah, you can just decide for yourself which ones you want to mix and match. Let's put back a cleaner face, just kind of keep things somewhat on the norms, as norm as this could really be. And let's take ourselves, again, another face. We'll just plug that in place. The faces stay relatively well, not to the point where I feel like they're going to be falling off. If you are, though, wondering, no, the hat is not removable. It would be, though, removable if you wanted to pry this off. But then what would end up happening? Yeah, you'd pry this off. You'd probably blame me. You would say, well, this guy on YouTube told me I could rip off the hat. Well, first of all, if you're explaining this in a story with the words rip off's telling you are forcing against its will. And then there's no way you'd be able to get that back in place. So don't blame me, whatever you do. For the bodies, at least, of Art the Clown, saying the obvious, the figures are going to be using the exact same. Same arms, same pom-poms there on the front. The only thing, again, that's really, again, different is just the red. What's interesting, though, is it's only really on the front of the figure. All the back stays relatively clean. So while he's doing his business, blood seems only just to be splattering the front of his body. Nothing really on the back. Could they maybe have just put a few little splots here? I mean, again, even it just kind of looks like he was going to a spray tan booth. And if imagine, though, the spray tan, instead of spraying tan, was just spraying blood. Was there an episode of Friends like that? Was it Chandler? No, it was Ross. I think it was Ross going into the tanning salon, and when he couldn't calculate the timing correctly of when the spray was going to happen. So he kept turning and nothing was happening. So he went to face it forward, and then he gets sprayed again. And then he got really frustrated. He turned again. Okay, when's it going to spray? When's it going to spray? And then he turned around again, and it just continued to spray him on the front of his face and body. For though the spraying, there certainly is a lot of this, of the red, that is. Yes, though, unfortunately, it does just really stop abruptly down the side here. But again, like if you want to look just a messier looking Art the Clown, this one does the bill rather nicely. Getting this guy out of the packaging, one thing I did notice was the elbow joints. Yes, still suffering, though, from only single hinges and not double hinges. The figure does have quite a little bit of paint buildup. To the point, though, when I was bending the elbow, there was a lot of resistance. I felt, though, like as I was moving it, was that going to snap on me? Was it going to snap? Was I going to start this review with broken arms? Knock on wood, luckily I wasn't. But I had to actually flake just a little bit of the red off. So unfortunately, though, like now the joint, and even if I didn't flake it, moving the elbow just alone like this, yeah, obviously the red's going to flake off anyways. But it's going to leave now a very clean area where everything else is red around it. I mean, again, I would imagine, though, when it came to producing this figure, just essentially taking a stack of arts, just putting it down on the table, somebody just probably went, psh, psh. Do we flip it around to the back? Hey, buddy, we're working by the hour here. Shh, shh. Another art comes in. Shh, shh. I know I'm really simplifying the way that toy manufacturing really works, but it does certainly seem like they just literally covered the whole front of it, which, again, isn't necessarily a bad thing. Again, the boots are exactly also the same. He does have peg holes in the bottoms of the feet. The original Art the Clown had the exact same. So, if you're familiar with this figure and you want to know the articulation on this figure, would you believe? Would you all believe it's exactly the same? Head's going to be on a ball joint. So yes, it does rotate the head all the way around. It can look down, and by down, it looks quite a lot. It's not only really just the fact that the figure does have a ball joint here, but underneath the clown collar, he does actually have a ball joint. If I get my blasted finger out of the way, he has a ball joint right there too. So between both of those, Art can move his head quite a lot. So if you want to have a sinister tilt to the side while Art's doing nasty things, you can certainly do that. The figure, again, still seems to have a crunch in his torso. This whole section is an overlay of rubbery plastic, but there does seem, though, like there's a hinge inside his torso, right around more like the abdomen area. The arms rotate all the way around. You can hinge them out, but you can't hinge them out much. At 90 degrees, more or less a 45 degree. Maybe you can bend a little bit more. It doesn't quite, though, pull off a full T-pose. Still, the figure only has a swivel in his, well, I shouldn't say his bicep, more in his forearm, but he only also has a single hinge in the elbow. That's all he has. I know it's a little bit of a bummer, the fact that an Art the Clown and Ultimate Art does have only single hinges, when really most Ultimate figures tend to have two. Hands do swivel all the way around. Let's not, again, drop the hands. Oh, this is a bad day for losing things. Pop the new hand back in place. By the way, swapping out the hands, even though I really didn't take the time to do that, I guess Lady Luck was going to say, no, you're going to show them how to swap out the hands. Popping out the hands is, again, super easy. So just pop those back in place. The hands rotate back and forth. There's a little bit of a hinge back and forth there, too. Legs are on ball joints. Those balls are keeping pretty clean. Stop that. The legs go forward quite a lot. They also go back. Also the same. There's a swivel there at the top of the thigh. Single hinge only for the knee. And then your standard levels of articulation up and down. An ankle rocker there as well. Good looking art. Great looking art. Not great, though, that I paid the price that I did. I mean, again, what was I end up paying for this? I paid on eBay probably like $70, $80. Then the exchange rate on top of that. I think when it was all said and done, I probably dropped more closer to around 140. I may have even said I spent about 120. I think I spent more closer to 120. But again, that's the plight that this guy has to live when it comes to picking up collectibles. Never can find these in the wild. Even like trying to find a Canadian online site that was stocking these. Now, some could say, well, Walmart. Buddy, you must have a Walmart. I do. You must have a Walmart, maybe like .ca. I do as well. They didn't have any listings at all of a blood-soaked Art the Clown. So I had to do the last thing, the last-ditched effort to try to get one and claim one for my collection. I ended up sourcing one on eBay. And again, that's where things just unraveled. Went a little unnecessary, excessively when it came to spending. Just as excessive, I'm sure, as Art the Clown was with his victims. In the end, though, I am happy, though, that we have ourselves a brand new Art the Clown. Yes, while though cosmetically, it's only really just the same as the original Art the Clown, but you do get a few frills, gorier, nastier looking frills like Pizzeria Steve's severed head, and you also get the brain. The brain, I can't even see now. I have such a short-term memory. But at least having though a severed head is something brand new. And again, like you have now bloodied accessories that, again, were clean for the first time around when we looked at art, are now very covered, very red, very soaked. Again, there are, a few little cool things that you can also display. It doesn't necessarily mean either that you have to commit to the idea of displaying like the cleaner Art the Clown with the cleaner looking accessories. I mean, one thing that's cool though is by using again the exact same bodies, you can mix them around and share around the hands. You can also share around the face sculpt. So you can really add how much blood you want to have to some degree. Obviously you can't swap out entire bodies or arms for that matter. But if you did want to have a little bit of splatter on the front of Art's face, you can also do that by using one of the included head sculpts that came included with the blood soaked. And again, while we're still sticking with that gory idea, you can also use some of the bloodied accessories that weren't included with this necessarily this figure, but was though included with the Walmart exclusive of him. Here, the Scarecrow wasn't the only one that was looking for a brain. At least I found mine. Well, it wasn't mine necessarily, but it's one that Art the Clown's going to be claiming as part of his own collection, among the many other accessories that come included with this figure. If you were to take the tally, you'd be counting all the same things that were with the original Art the Clown plus then too. Pizzeria Steve, the severed jack-o'-lantern, does come now with this Art the Clown, as well as the brain. So at least there's two new things that weren't with the original art that give you the incentive. I'm sure, though, if you're a big fan of the Terrifier films, all three of them now with the fourth coming soon, you're probably already in your sights getting now or wanting to get at least the blood-soaked version. Now, again, I have to stress this. It's only available as a Walmart exclusive. Normally, that wouldn't be so bad if you were a U.S. collector. You probably could easily go into your Walmart stores. I have at least seen enough posts on the Facebook selling groups. Generally, though, the collectors are like, I've got one. And then they have like a picture of them holding one in their hand in the store. Or, hey, who's got theirs? That's another one I generally see. I have to always reply, unfortunately, with a big sad face. Oh, look at this Canadian guy. This Canadian guy can't find squat. I did find him, though, but I didn't find him in all the greatest of places. eBay was only really my only other option. I mean, again, like your places like your Entertainment Earths, your big bad toy stores won't have things that are exclusives to stores. So eBay was the place, unfortunately, I had to get this guy for. And the price, again, of what I paid, I don't even, again, want to talk about. As much as I don't want to talk about the rabbit from Driller Killer, I also equally, maybe a little bit more, don't want to talk about the prices that I paid to get my hands on Art the Clown and the blood-soaked version of him. In the end, though, I'm happy to have both of them in my collection. Yes, it's a disappointment thing that, unfortunately, the figure doesn't have double hinges in his elbows. C'est la vie, the figure at least does have probably one of the most robust amount of accessories. Has there been another NECA figure that's topped Art the Clown when it comes to the amount of things that come included with his ultimate release? I can't think that there is. I mean, there certainly has been Jason's, but Jason doesn't have nowhere near the arsenal, nor the additional hands, nor the swappable faces as Terrifier's Art the Clown does. What do you guys, though, think of the Walmart exclusive blood-soaked Art the Clown? One that you've already picked up? Have you also been one of those people that went on Facebook? Got one! This guy did not get one. Well, I did. I didn't go the same routes, and not the easiest, more inexpensive routes. I went the hardest routes. I went the more pricier routes. But I finally had this guy in my collection. If you guys did enjoy this video, you can do it a solid and throw it a like. You guys want to stick around for more so? I certainly hope so. I certainly do. There's going to be more videos coming your way for the rest of this week, so I hope you guys are going to be coming back for that. As always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.